Welcome to the Shantae Simone Show. I have a very special person here with me this morning. We started taping on Facebook Live, but because of where we are located and our connectivity, that didn't work out very well. So we are going to just give another introduction. This is Mr. Scheibe. I met this man a few years ago, and he has been a total inspiration to me. I've always wondered how it is that he has such a positive mindset and has managed to live to the age that he is, which he's going to tell you about. Well, health and wellness coach and a registered nurse, and I am seeking to create spaces for those of you who want to have healthier and whole lives. So we deal with the spiritual, the mental, physical, the nutritional, all of that. And so here's Mr. Scheibe this morning, and he's going to tell us a little bit about how he has gotten to where he is. He's going to tell us how old he is. Oh, how young he is, that is.
What you expect is going to happen. What you go looking for, you're going to find. All right. And so if you're going out looking, you're worried about your health all the time, you're going to find problems with it, So just don't worry about that. When I first met Shantae, we got to talking about health one time and diet. And I told her, well, my idea of a balanced diet is a chocolate bar in each hand.
Yeah, he really did tell me that, guys. He really did tell me that.
And so it wasn't too long after that when she came to meet me. Here she comes with 2 Snicker bars, and I was all balanced. But the main thing is to not to get worried about your health, right? Because if you worry about it, most of your problems, as my daddy says, you're going to get what you expect. So you start going looking for problems or looking for solutions. You're going to get all caught up in it. Well, like I say, I'm 80 years old, perfect health. And of course, I'm not old enough to remember it, but I still believe in the old philosophy which says, during the last pandemic, which was in 1918, they found out that the best cure for it was sunshine and fresh air.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
And a healthy lifestyle. Healthy lifestyle includes getting outside.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And guys, I'm just going to interrupt Mr. Scheibe real quick. I'm actually meeting Mr. Scheibe at a place that he's actually doing the lawn care for the place. And so he is definitely obeying those laws of getting outside and being active.
Okay. Now you done made me forget what I was going to say.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry.
I tell everybody right now I'm at the age where I meet new friends every day that I've known for a long time. Mm-hmm. And so I've lost my train of thought completely, but we'll get back on it
He
somewhere.
was talking about getting outside, getting fresh air.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Talking about the COVID virus.
Yes.
Okay. That's really great. Okay. But I was thinking, when the first came out, I was thinking about this. And of course, I have never had a flu shot. I don't believe in like I say, medicine, so I don't take any. I don't take any supplements. Your food should be your medicine.
Okay.
As long as you eat a good, healthy diet. Don't go overboard one way or the other. Just eat plenty of a variety, a lot of fruits and vegetables. And if you like a steak every now and then, that ain't gonna hurt you either.
Balance, guys. That's what he's talking about.
Balanced diet. Like I say, have balance in it, And be sure you have that chocolate bar in each hand so you can have a little dessert. But don't go over with it. The recipe is, especially if you're sick or got a cold or something, there ain't nothing better than a bowl of chicken soup. Cures you right up.
Yes. My mom's used to cure me right up.
So,
the best.
A simple lifestyle, plenty of fresh air, just a good, wholesome diet, and a good attitude. I have to, I laugh at myself all the time. Of course, I laugh at my wife all the time. She says I'm going to live to be 1,000 because if you laugh a long time, you live longer.
But, another key, guys.
Be happy, okay? I remember coming into the kitchen one day home and I was grinning at her. She says, what are you laughing about? I says, well, on the way home, while I was driving home, I fell into deep depression. And just the thought of it made me so tickled that I couldn't laugh. I wouldn't know what a depression was if it came up and said hello. So I find the humorous side and the positive side to every situation, because there is one. No matter what you look at or what happens, there's a good and a positive side to it. So I have a great, grand, and glorious day every day.
Yes, if you ask Mr. Scheibe, how is he doing? Hi, Mr. Scheibe, how are you doing? What is your usual answer?
Super fantastically wonderful. But I'm going to get better.
Every single time, guys. For years. Every time.
Of course, there's one bad side to that thing is people expect it after a while.
Yes. He just wouldn't be the same without it,
I remember going into a filling station in Zephyr Hills, Florida. And of course, I had been going in there, and I never did like to purchase gas on my credit card, so I'd always go inside and pay for it. And of course, every time I went in, the lady would ask me how I was doing. I would tell her I was doing super fantastically wonderful. And so this went on for several years. And then one Friday afternoon, I was pulling in to get gas. They had a new clerk there. I mean, it was packed. I mean, there was people there, and she was struggling, and I could see she was struggling, So when I got up there, rather than cause a commotion, she says, how are you doing? And I said, fine. And of course, the old clerk was standing there, and she turned around and she says, what do you mean you're doing fine? I specifically asked her to told her to ask you how you were doing. And you said fine. So when you get a reputation, you've got to live up to it.
That's right.
Oh, but no matter, like I say, my wife, again, she says, you're going to live to be 1,000 because you're laughing at me all the time. And no matter what my wife does, I can find something funny about it. But then, by the same effect, I can find something funny about everything that I do, too.
Yes.
I'm just as funny. Well, even funnier. Crazy people have more fun. I wouldn't want to be sane for anything in the world.
He's admitting that he's crazy, guys.
That's right. I'm a crazy guy. I enjoy it. I enjoy life, and no matter what the situation, I know that it's not going to be long before it's going to change, and I'm going to be happy again.
Okay, so I'm going to pinpoint, ask you just a
Sure.
few more direct questions.
Okay.
Does that mean that, so I'm hearing a very bubbly, happy person, and that's what I've always seen by Mr. Scheibe. But does that mean that you've never had, disappointing times in your life? And how did you deal with those?
The hardest thing that I have gone through, 35 years ago, my first wife came down with wateral cancer. And
I don't have tissue, guys. Now to make Mr. Scheibe cry here.
Well, it comes back with you. It stays with you for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I had my own business. And I went through a lot of struggle with that because even in that, I realized that when my wife came down with cancer, she got to the point where she could not take care of herself. I knew the business wouldn't run itself; it would go away and everything. Well, a year before, I'd had a company out of Chicago call me up and say, "Well, do you want to sell your business?" And I told them no. And they said, "Well, if you did, how much would you want for it?" So I said, "Well, why not just, I don't really sell it, get ridiculous." So I gave them a figure. They giggled at me, and away they went. And so, the Lord takes care of us. When my wife came down with cancer and it got to the point where she couldn't take care of herself, these same people came back again. And they said, "Well, would you like to sell your business?" And I told them, yes, I would. And I told them why. I said, my wife's got cancer. She's going to have to thing. I can't take care of both of them, so I need to sell it. They said, well, how much do you want for it? And I said, well, I thought I gave you a reasonable figure last time. And so they took me up on it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You know, through that, you know, the Lord takes care of us no matter what. He really does.
So I'm hearing there's a faith base. There has to be. So guys, I don't know if you noticed so far. I'm hearing fresh air, sunshine, mindset, faith. Do you see a trend there of for a holistic, healthy, well life?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
But anyway, they bought it from me, and they said, well, we would like to keep you on. What position would you like in this new company? Would you like to be manager or whatever?
That is crazy.
And I says, well, no, I don't want a position that takes up a full time, because I'm going to have to take care of my wife. And so I need a position where I'll have flexibility. So they hired me as a sales rep, which gave me flexibility. Then it came to the point where my wife got to the point where she needed full-time care. So I said, boys, I'm gonna go home and take care of my wife, and you know, we can call it I quit, we can call it leave of absence, call it whatever you want, but you know, I'm gone. Now this was a big company out of Chicago, and they turned to me and they said, Robert, okay. I says, you do what you have to, and we'll do what we have to. I said, that's fair enough.
What does that mean, guys?
What does that mean? Okay. So I went home and I took care of my wife. And they would call me up once a week to see how things were going. And they would call me up when they had a special problem with a particular customer that they would like me to call and settle. And they sent me a paycheck for 3 months. I quit in September to take care of my wife. She passed away in December. And for 3 months, you know, the only thing they required of me was that thing. So, you know, I cannot complain. The Lord really blesses in everything.
Wow. Wow.
You know,
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. Again, using the philosophy I do, I never look back. You know, I don't dwell in the past, and I don't dwell in the future.
Those are the two Roberts, guys. Past and the future, Roberts. We gotta live in the present.
You gotta live in the present, you know. And I have always done that. I have lived in about. I tell everybody I live on half lives when it comes to moving. I bought my parents' home, and brought my children were born in the same hospital I was born into, brought home to the same house I was born in.
Wow.
Okay. So I lived there for about 35 years total. Sold that, moved to the other side of town, and lived there for about 15 years. Okay. Sold that, moved to a little smaller town, lived there for about 7.5 years. Okay.
I'm doing some math here, so.
Okay, and then from there, so I changed jobs. I was moved to a different city, bought a place, and lived there for 3.5 years. So we sold that, and we moved to another place. I told my wife there's not probably any reason in unpacking, because it was 30, 15, 7.5, 3.5 years. So I'm working on half lives. But then it started going back the other direction. But, you know, I forgot what the point was of the story, but that's okay.
Well, Mr. Scheibe, he has seen a lot. He has been a lot of places. He's moved a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that is one of the things that probably draws me to Mr. Scheibe, his ability to be diverse and not just one-track minded, but very open, which makes him very likable. You know, and I'm always looking for things that make me likable. So I am learning, which is one of the reasons why I'm doing this video today, because he is likable. He has attributes and qualities that a lot of people do not have, many people, like I said, have reached his age and they're not doing half of the things that he does, not a quarter of the things he does. He's an amazing cook, guys. Amazing cook. An amazing cook. He can camp. He's just amazing. So I'm gonna bring my interview to a close. Do you want to say any last minute
Well, I need to finish the thought. I finally got it. What?
Oh,
the
okay.
whole thought was don't live in the past or the present.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Or past or the future is always living in the present.
Okay.
Okay. And so you never know what's around the corner.
True.
So I don't dwell on the past and I don't dwell on the future.
Right.
And the whole thing, the story as I got through was, after my wife passed away, I tell everybody I'm the baby of 5. Okay, and of course as I was growing up, I got spoiled, and I enjoy being spoiled. Okay, I really do. And my first wife spoiled me. Okay, and I enjoyed being spoiled. Well, I spoiled her too. Okay, and so. After she passed away, I mourned for an appropriate period of time. And then, I told everybody, I was happily married, and I'm going to be happily married again. And the good Lord gave me another wife. And it's been 35 years last month.
Wow.
Okay? So, if you trust in the Lord, and you don't really worry about the future, because we have no control over it.
No.
All worry does is takes the fun out of the present.
Right. Right. Takes away the strength for today.
That's right. You can't do anything about what happened yesterday. You might as well forget about it and go on.
Yeah.
There's no sense worrying about tomorrow because you don't have a clue what's going to happen tomorrow.
Oh, it's not promised to you, and what is promised to you is change.
That's right. And so, just look at what happens today and enjoy what happens today.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And just realize that you're not near as smart as you think you are.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm learning that. It is. I'm actually like finally just realizing, okay, I need some advice in reference to this. It's not that I don't trust my gut and my instinct and what God has given me, but there's a blessing in a multitude of counselors. That's
right. That's right. And don't get too hung up on yourself, because you're just not as smart as you think you are. And there's a lot of people out there, and even though you are right, just remember that everybody else
thinks that they're right too.
Thinks that they're right too, but they're also, I like to put it this way to make it a little more humorous. They're entitled to be wrong. If they want to, that's okay with them. It's all right. Because if you stop and think about it, I've probably been wrong just as many times as I've been right.
Okay.
Okay. And so you might as well enjoy being wrong. Okay, you can finish it now.
All right, guys. I'm gonna turn this camera around just so you guys can just see the work that Mr. Scheibe's done. I hope that it does justice. Kind of just do it really slowly. You see this landscape here? He just cut this property, and he does that. That's one of the things that he does. It's every week or every other week.
Well, since she's wanting to know what all I do, we
only have a limited amount of time left, so
okay.
But tell us what you do quickly.
20 yards. I have about 20 yards that I keep up, and we just took down 2 huge oak trees in the church. Mm-hmm. I cut them up and hauled them off, and I just gave her a load of the firewood.
He did, because we heat our house by firewood.
And so even at 80, I'm not only just active, but I'm also strong.
Yes, guys.
Okay.
There is no limp in the step, and I'm like, that is amazing.
All right, so
Mr. Scheibe did have surgery, not
4 years ago.
4 years ago,
I was climbing up on my roof, and the ladder went south, and so I went east, and when we came down on the thing, I broke my leg.
But he got up and is moving better than some of us who's never had any kind of accidents like that. This is what I'm talking about, guys. So
being positive. When I went back to see the doctor, he says, "Okay, you can walk. You can." After they took the cast off and they had the surgery and put the stuff back together, he says, "Now I don't want you putting any weight on that leg."
Okay.
I said, "Okay." And so I had some trees taken down outside, and so I went outside, and by standing on my left leg, I didn't have to put any weight on my right leg. I can stand the logs up and split them. So I went back and told the doctor what I was doing, and he said, "I told you not to put any weight on it." I said, "Well, I didn't. I was standing on my other leg." So there's a way to do whatever you want to, as long as you look for it, as long as you enjoy what you're doing.
Yes.
I've never had a job that I didn't enjoy. And one of the parts of the stories that I forgot is moving. Even though the house that I brought my children home to, I had lived in that house since I was born. Once I moved, I was working in a place that I'd been working at for 15 years, and never once when I left the driveway of the place that I turned right instead of left. Going to the new house, always went home. So people said, "Oh, you're going to miss it." Never did. I live in the present, not in the past, not in the future.
That is very healing for me to hear, because I find that I resist change quite a bit, and I'm learning that I cannot do that, and I must not be afraid of going anywhere. Just take God with me and go forward, and He will provide all that I need, and make where I am my new home.
Yeah.
So that's actually a part of my new plan, and that's what I'm about to do. So guys, we're gonna have to wrap up here because my time is running out. I thank you guys so much for being with us today. Thank you. Do comment, like, and share, and let Mr. Shivey know that you guys really appreciated his story today. And we just want to encourage you guys to get that sunlight, get that fresh air, get that water in, get that exercise on a daily basis. Just live that healthy and happy life, filled with wellness, because you can actually live to be like Mr. Shivey is. That's one of my goals, guys. Good mindset, relying on God fully, being in alignment with God. Those are the keys to success. So on that note, we're going to say goodbye. Shantae Simone here with you guys. Peace, y'all.
Okay.